Welcome back, kids. It's Miss Mulligan for part two of our story called Protecting Delaware Beaches. Just before we start, when we're doing a nonfiction article, I see a caption right here next to the picture, and I'm going to read that first. It says, "The roots of this beach grass help keep sand from washing away." So the roots intact really keep things grounded so things don't wash away and create that erosion that we don't want. We want to make sure things are intact. And this looks like the picture of the environmental engineer. We're going to go ahead and read, and you're going to read it with me today. It's called Protecting Delaware Beaches. Christina Clarkson is an environmental engineer. We are visiting her at Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Christina, what is your job? Well, let's read what she says. I am an environmental engineer. I take care of 2.5 miles of beach along the Atlantic Ocean. You can see it right in the background. What does an environmental engineer do? Environmental engineers protect the earth. Sometimes we focus on rivers and lakes. Other times we clean up polluted areas. Here, we are rebuilding beaches that were damaged by fierce storms. And last week we read an article about that storm that hit years ago. So this is something that they would do to revitalize the beaches to keep them alive and healthy. How do you rebuild a beach? Strong storms and ocean currents have carried sand away. We call this erosion. Key word. We need to replace the beach sand. That makes me wonder how they're going to replace the beach sand. Are they going to bring more sand in? What are they going to do? What special equipment do you use? We work with a hopper dredge. This is a special boat that pulls sand from the bottom of the ocean. I was right. They are going to bring sand in. Not from like a sand pit, but from the ocean. The sand is first stored on the boat. Then it is dumped back on the beach. Bulldozers spread the sand around. Interesting. Why won't the next storm wash the new sand out to sea again? I wonder what they're going to do to keep the sand in place. We try to stop storms from damaging the beach again by changing its shape. New sand dunes will help control. Let's reread that. New sand dunes will help control the crashing water of storms and high tides. Oh, it acts as like a barrier. Cool. How else are you changing the beach? We are adding fences to keep sand in place. We are also planting beach grass. Both help stop beach erosion. Again, that beach grass helps create that root system so things stay in place and they don't move as much. So now, after we read, remember before we read, we do kind of a vocabulary walk. We want to front load that. Then during read, we were asking questions to help us understand even better. After we read, we want to check for our understanding. And that is, how are they helping stop erosion? And one of the things that I remember them reading is they were bringing in sand from the ocean floor, and they were bringing it back out to the beaches. But when they came back out, they had to change the shape of the sand, and they created more like dunes. Dunes are like little mounds, like little hills, and that keeps things from moving too, and it creates like a blockade, like a barrier, which is really cool. And the last thing, how they prevent erosion, that means movement of the sand and maybe soil. They also put up those fences, but they also are going to replant. They're going to create root systems to help keep things strong and in place so things don't move. You can tell that these plants in the background are great root systems that lead to the stopping of sand moving, which is awesome. So that is the job of what these engineers do, and they're called environmental engineers. And that would be our central idea is, what do environmental engineers do to help our beaches stay healthy and strong. And we found out all the background knowledge and all the reasons why we want to keep erosion from happening by our beaches. So boys and girls, make sure when you're doing this, you do the BDA strategy before, during, and after. Make sure you ask questions. Make sure you do a vocabulary front load, looking at those words to set you up for success while you're reading. Okay? And make sure when you're done, you check your comprehension. Did you understand what you read? Also, one more thing I want to add to it is if you don't understand, you should go back to the article and reread it one more time. So after the video shuts off, you can read it one more time. Have a good day, boys and girls.